Okay, spiritual bitches or male bitches. I'm going to give you a good reason why you can tell people to F off and still be spiritual. I'm not talking about being Buddha. I'm talking about just being a spiritual god badass. In fact, one of my clients said that about me. She goes, I kind of look at you like a spiritual badass teacher. Now, there is a trick to this, and it's very serious. So you got to listen up. You got to know who you are. You got to know what your weaknesses are, what your strengths are, what your idiosyncrasies are, your childhood trauma. You can't be blaming your mama and your papa. You can't blame the ex-boss or the ex-boyfriend or the ex-girlfriend. You got to take 100% responsibility for who you are and what you are. Even if you come from a cult and you were sexually abused and mentally and physically abused. Believe it or not, I got a few clients like that. My heart breaks. But you still got to take responsibility for your life. Once you do that, you'll be very discerning about whether somebody is just being a bitch or an asshole or hurting you because you got major triggers. You can still have the triggers, but at least you know what they are. You're like, you know what? That person really isn't a jackass. They just really triggered me in this situation in which I have a childhood trauma and they kind of intervened and opened up that wound. That doesn't mean they're an asshole. It means I still got work to do. See what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So once you've accomplished that, okay, that was the wrong word. We never really accomplish it. We're just constantly working on it. But once you're quite aware, then when somebody is crossing a line, they're overstepping boundaries that you clearly set. I'll give you an example in the end. They're not taking ownership of their shit, and you can clearly see it. You have an enormous amount of compassion for it. You don't want to force them to see it. And they're not nice to you. Call them out. So you know what? Don't treat me like that. Stop being a bitch. You might have some stress issues, but not my monkey, not my circus. If I can help, let me know. But I'm drawing the line here. I don't care if you're my mama, my dad, my sister, my brother, my coworker, my best friend forever. If it's causing me stress, I got to check out of this relationship. But I want you guys to be very careful about the checking out part. It doesn't have to be permanent. Yeah, just check out. I'm not going to see you guys on Thanksgiving this year. Don't think I'll show up for Easter. I'll come to the party for an hour. Whatever it takes for you to check out, as long as you need, because you need to work on that trigger. An example, because I work with a lot of Eastern cultured clients, is telling your mother-in-law that you can't come over for dinner because your sister-in-law makes you crazy, but you don't have to tell her that part. So you know what, Mama? For the next few Sundays, I'm checking out, not going to show up for dinner, and I'm going to take care of myself, going to nurture myself. This is not forever. Thank you for respecting it. Love you. But then you got to do it. No excuses, no over-explaining yourself. And if you have to do that, then take a look at that trigger. Why do I need to validate my temporary respite from a situation that's causing me stress? Yeah. I'm going to look like a bitch. I'm not going to be the good in-law. I'm not going to be the good girl at all. But who gives a fuck? Because what you give a fuck about is your soul. You know what? There's one, and I'm going to go into the detail with this in the next TikTok. There's only one person that you have to align with, who you have to understand, who you have to love, nurture, care for, feel guilty, responsible, reliable. There's only one person that you know every single every little nanosecond of who they are, nanoparticle of who they are, where they've been, what they've done, every single second of their life. Only one person. And you guessed it, that's you. You. Only you. That's a really important job. Nobody else can do that for you. They just don't get you like you do. But sometimes we gotta be one spiritual badass bitch.